Welcome to the Driveway Beers podcast with Mike and Alex. Thank you for joining us, and we hope you enjoy the show. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share on any platform that you're listening on. All right, welcome back to another show. Thank you for coming. Thank you for sharing the show. We appreciate it very much. Here with Mike.
Sorry, I'm eating a Nilla wafer.
Yeah.
Well, no, it's a chocolate wafer.
Listen, that's the highbrow version right there. I don't even know what brand. I got it from Costco. What's the brand on that thing?
It's Loacker, Loacker or Loker or Loacker.
See, it sounds high end. We can't even pronounce it.
Yeah,
So you know it's good.
yeah. But I had to find the chocolate versions because the other ones were hazelnut and vanilla.
Listen, you're in my wife's camp with the hazelnut thing. She hates hazelnut.
No,
I
can't
love it. I
stand
think it's great.
So I used to work at a hospital, and I worked midnights. And the charge nurse, he would go in there, and he'd make a pot of hazelnut coffee, and it was in this training break room, and people go in there and drink it. Well, then they would just put the coffee back onto the burner, and then it would burn. So that smell of burnt hazelnut, so
I dig it. I like it in my coffee. People say I should try Nutella. I had Nutella when I was a kid. I don't remember it though. I don't remember being like awesome. Like apparently Nutella's like a thing.
the hipsters love it.
Yeah.
And you probably found it. I bet you that when you went on vacation, and there's hipster. I guarantee you, there's a gallon of Nutella in that place.
Probably. Actually, what is it, Nutella toast or something like that? It's the new avocado toast.
Yeah.
People just don't know it yet.
Yeah, but avocado toast is better. Now, what's disgusting? I don't know if you have any Australian friends. Is Vegemite.
I want to talk about that.
Vegemite is gross. So my dad went to Australia and brought it back, and no one in our house knew anything about it. Well, he had already discovered that it's disgusting,
Right?
But brings it back anyways. Like, yeah, this is all the rage in Australia, and you have to try it. Blah blah blah. So you make it on toast, and it's awful. Like it's really really bad.
That's like what, people in Hawaii think Spam is delicious.
Well, Spam is big in Korea too. It's actually in like I forget the name of it. There's a soup that has Spam in it, and it's because after the Korean War, all the soldiers were there and they had a bunch of Spam, so they'd put it in soup.
I mean, it is the Hawaiian delicacy.
I like Spam. I don't mind it.
Isn't it just canned ham?
Yeah, so it's like mushed up ham byproducts and like squished into the can.
So it's like a hot dog ham.
Yeah, but I like it. It's salty and smoky, and I don't mind it.
I'm not one to denigrate hot dogs. I like hot dogs.
No, I think hot dogs are great.
It could be one of the best meals ever. But, I mean, maybe seeing the inside stuff on the outside maybe just might not be up my alley. You know?
Yeah, see, I like Scrapple too.
I've never had Scrapple.
Ooh, you know what you're missing. I crush Scrapple.
Like, I like grits. Is it like grits?
Mm-mm.
No.
Well, okay. So, Scrapple is pork byproducts and seasonings, and then I think it is like cornmeal mush or something like that is they form it in the loaf, and then you just grill it or fry it.
You gotta form it in a loaf. That's where it's kind of like, really?
Yeah, but it's nice and firm. You can slice it, and then you put it in the frying pan or on your griddle and cook it. Some people like it thick. Some people put syrup on it. I don't do that.
So does it taste like a breakfast meat?
Yeah, it is breakfast meat.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's delicious.
But I wouldn't. I'm probably gonna get skewered for this, but I wouldn't. It's like I wouldn't put syrup on bacon.
No, now there are some. So I am when it comes to my breakfast foods, I'm a strict segregationist. Okay, I want don't cancel me now. You got to listen to the rest of the story. I don't want my bacon. I don't want my sweets and savories coming together.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you on that.
So if I go and I get the platter at Double T Diner.
Sure.
And the Double T platter, and it comes with, you get your 2 eggs, your bacon, home fries, and then your pancakes. Now, they bring it out on a separate plate.
Yep.
As it should be done. However, there are other places that bring it all together. Now, I used to work with a dude that would take all the food. He'd take that platter, move the pancakes over on top of everything else, cover the whole thing with syrup, and eat it that way.
See, that's a casserole to me.
No, I was like,
point.
dude, why don't you just put it in a blender and drink it?
I mean, at that point, you're eating a breakfast casserole.
Yeah, and his eggs were over easy, which I'm cool with. I love runny eggs.
That's the runny ones, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, some people call them dippy eggs because you dip the toast. I think that sounds juvenile.
Yeah.
But there's sunny side up, over easy, over light. I think it's over like that's just like a fried hard boiled egg.
Right.
So no, I definitely want it to be. I want all the white cooked, but the yolk I want that pretty much unmolested.
See,
so
I'm a big fan. I do like fried eggs with a runny middle, but one of the ways I love to do eggs, and my kids won't eat them this way, my wife won't eat them this way. It's scrambled eggs,
okay.
but runny scrambled eggs.
Yes.
Like I like them a little bit like not. I don't want all the moisture out of them. Mm-hmm. I want them to be a little bit. It's almost like you're mixing in the yolk into the scrambled egg.
Yeah.
While it's still runny, right?
Yeah,
I love them like that.
I agree. I think that's a fine way. You don't want that's. I think it was what's that celebrity chef, Gordon Ramsay.
Yeah.
I saw a video of how he cooks eggs. So he uses butter, a ton of butter, and we all know butter makes everything better. And I think it was creme fraiche. I don't know what that is. So
No clue.
that when he mixed the eggs up and then he put them in, but he didn't. He put it in the pan right where the butter had just melted, so the pan wasn't that hot. And then used the spatula and just kept stirring it until the curds formed, and then served it that way.
I don't get that fancy. I do a little bit of cooking spray,
Yeah.
and then I scramble the eggs with a little bit of half and half. A little bit.
Yeah.
Not full blown milk because milk makes the stomach hurt a little bit. For some reason, half and half doesn't do it to me. Anyway, little bit, smidge, half and half, just to get it a little bit lighter. Salt, pepper in the mix.
Yeah.
Scramble it up. Dump it in.
Yep.
And just before it gets to the point where it's all the moisture's out, that's when I'm popping them out for me. I did that one time. My wife looks at me and goes, "Those aren't done."
Yeah,
They're done for me. Your eggs are over there.
Yeah. If you want burnt eggs, they're over there.
Well, and the kids won't eat them. If they're a little bit runny, like, this is gross. I'm like, no, this is fantastic.
So my youngest doesn't want the yolk in the egg, but he wants to have a fried egg just like Daddy does.
Okay.
So I will make him 2 fried egg whites. So it's just, but now he's decided that he wants the yolks. So
I'm weird in that. Like, I like yolks every way but hard boiled.
I won't eat them hard boiled.
Yeah, I just put them to the side.
Yeah,
I don't know why.
I give them to the dog.
I'll eat them. I'll eat yolks when they're fried. I'll eat them when they're scrambled.
Yep.
I just don't like the yolk.
I will eat them
hard boiled.
as a deviled egg, and all
No, I do. I dig a deviled egg.
Oh, I will. One of our neighbors' wives makes. She's our neighbor too. I would say my neighbor's wife was like, wait, she's also my neighbor.
Yeah, she lives there. She lives there most of the time with you?
Yeah, but she makes awesome.
I feel so bad though.
Because she brings a dozen, I'm eating a dozen.
Well, but here's the thing though. I feel like now she almost feels obligated to make them because she knows everyone loves them.
Yeah.
And I feel so bad. Like, you don't have to keep making this. Like, you could bring something easier.
Or not me. I'm like, did you make the devil?
Well, I remember one year, I think she brought like the extra dozen.
Yeah.
Just because she knew you and I were going to pound away a dozen ourselves. And she made like a dozen for everyone else. Yeah, like, you got a dozen, I got a dozen. Everyone else got their own dozen.
Right. And I think we ate some of those too.
Yeah, probably.
She even has a special deviled egg carrier. It's like this thing that has like drawers and like little indentations for the. Like, don't even bother.
It's hysterical. Like, after I eat my dozen, you've eaten your dozen. We're looking around like, anyone gonna eat these? Like the third dozen over here. Anyone gonna eat these? I pay for it later, but man, do they taste good coming down.
Oh yeah,
they are so. And then she does them 2 different ways. She got the Old Bay version, and then she just does them with the paprika on there instead. I like them both.
Yeah, no, me too. And like an egg salad sandwich.
Oh, I'm a sucker for an egg salad sandwich.
So I made an egg salad sandwich for my wife to take to work with her, and then I made it for my oldest kid too. But like the bread that I was using, like it couldn't take that much egg, so there's extra in the bowl, which is the chef's treat.
Sure.
So I take Old Bay out and just cover it in Old Bay. When I make tuna fish, I cover it in everything is covered in Old Bay.
I don't do it with tuna fish. I love it with egg salad though.
Yeah.
For people that haven't tried Old Bay on their egg salad, you got to. You're missing out.
Yeah.
It makes it taste really good.
Yeah.
I mean, it's almost like you're having a deviled egg sandwich with the Old Bay on it.
Oh yeah.
In my opinion.
Yeah.
Now don't get me wrong. You could do the paprika and it'd be the same. It'd be.
I mean, there is
equally
paprika
delightful.
in Old Bay.
Oh yeah, there's a bunch of it. That's
Yeah.
like the main ingredient.
It's like paprika and celery salt, essentially.
Right.
Is what's in there.
Yeah.
So,
They gotta put something in there to make it like to give that like not fishy taste, but something.
or maybe we just associate so much with seafood that we just think it has a fishy taste.
Yeah. Yeah. Oddly enough, this was not supposed to be the topic of
No,
this podcast.
no, not at all.
But I think we could probably do 3 episodes on foods that we like and why.
Oh yeah.
But I guess we'll move on. Horrible segue. We were going to talk about today is August 24th. This will come out next Tuesday. President Biden essentially said that everyone's going to get $10,000 of their student loans forgiven. And he probably said this after an egg salad sandwich, so maybe this is irrelevant to the egg salad sandwich story. But I'm on the fence of whether I think this is good or not.
So yeah, and I am too, and so I get it. So there's a whole bunch of different things that play into this thing. So I think we've gone off. I don't think our feelings on colleges and universities and stuff is a secret. I think they're overpriced a lot of times. You get. You're paying for something that really in the end isn't worth all that much. But our generation, I know when I was growing up, like it was the expectation everyone went to college. The school system where I grew up, they like actively like looked down upon people going to the trades. Everything was college prep. Well, college isn't for everybody. So you put a bunch of these people into college, and our parents were the boomers, and a lot of them went to college. But when they went to college, it was a lot less expensive. When we went to college, it was a lot less expensive than it is now. But being someone that left school with $5,000 in student loan debt and paid it off quickly, I'm like, well, where's my 10 grand?
Right.
But then my wife, who has a master's degree and loans and all that stuff, then I'm like, well, let's get her. They should give my 10 grand to her.
Yeah. And we're kind of in the same. So I was fortunate enough. I left school without debt. Mm-hmm. Very fortunate in that regard. My wife, on the other hand, left school with about 77 grand in debt.
Oof, yeah.
That was 2 bachelors and a master's.
Yeah.
But then she also went into the field for which she got the master's though.
Yeah.
And it pays well now. Mm-hmm. So we had paid on it for, I think it was 10, 12 years or so. Mm-hmm. And she applied for that public student loan forgiveness program.
Yeah.
And got denied because they said she wasn't on the correct repayment plan. And we didn't know there was a correct repayment plan.
I thought the correct repayment plan was pay your loan.
That's what I thought. I thought, look, it was 10 years. You're supposed to repay the loan. Like that's what I thought it was. And they apparently said, no, you had to be on an income-based repayment plan. Or some, like there were like 4 different options you could do. We weren't on any of them.
Right.
And no one told us we had to be on any of them. Like no one said anything to us. And she had Navient as a loan servicer. Mm-hmm. I don't know, just trying to get a hold of someone was a pain in the it was just a pain in the butt. Then when we finally got someone, they finally said, "Look, you're not eligible," because we submitted the application, and then we hadn't heard anything, so we called and we got the person on the phone. The person said, "Look, I'm sorry, you're not eligible. You weren't paying through the correct program in order to qualify to get your 10 years of payments. So we had been paying for 12 years, but none of them counted." So we're like, okay, it is what it is. Live and learn. Mm-hmm. And we had been paying down these loans for years, obviously. So what the lady said was, okay, why don't we refinance the loan into another 30-year term? So it basically took our $400 a month payment down to like $250. Mm-hmm. And we were like, you know what? We'll do it. It's a small amount of money. It's less than a car payment a month. And it's just going to be there for 30 years.
Yeah.
Not thinking they would ever get forgiven or anything. We didn't go into a program that could be part of that public student loan forgiveness program. Nothing. We just assumed it'd be another 30 years. We'd pay on it. It'd be a small amount. We'd just deal with it. Mm-hmm. And then we heard the rumblings and the grumblings. Oh, they're going to start forgiving student debt. Start forgiving student debt. Like, okay, we could stand to get back $250 a month. A lot of stuff we could do with that. But then, we've talked about this in the past, though. It's almost like we saw the harm that the stimulus checks did, right?
Yep.
When they were giving out $1,200, $1,300, $1,500 a month. Or not a month, in those two or three payments. Three different times they did it.
Yeah.
Not everyone qualified, but they were just pushing money out. And what they're seeing now is people use the money to buy stuff. They weren't putting it away. They weren't using it to pay rent.
Yeah.
They used it to put down payments on cars, which are now getting they're being repoed now, which is just research bank loan auto repos right now. They're at one of the highest levels they've ever been at, because people who had that money can't afford to make those payments now because the money ran out.
Yeah.
But it pushed car prices up. It kind of helped. It pushed inflation up because of all this money going into the economy. People were just spending it. I mean, there's the myth that if you give people money, they'll do the responsible thing with it, and that generally is never the case.
Yeah. So let's try that with your kids.
Right.
So my three boys and we went to the store, and they're like, "Daddy, can we get a treat?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure, why not?" So they wanted to there was a dispute amongst the four of us whether we were going to get brownies. So it's those, I forget who makes them. I think it's Little Debbie or something. They're like the brownies. It's like one brownie in a package, but you can split it in half.
That's Little Debbie.
Yeah.
They all
I don't like them.
with the little nuts on them.
Don't like them.
What?
Not a fan. However, what I am a big fan of, and so there was the two kid faction for brownies, and then there was the me, and then my middle son faction for oatmeal cream pies.
Listen, I was thinking oatmeal cream pies before you said it. Mm-hmm. Those are delicious.
Yes.
Little Debbie, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
No, not the knockoff brand.
Yeah, I was like, is there another brand? But
yeah, they don't even waste.
Those things are phenomenal.
Oh, okay. And there's no breaks involved. So the oldest and the littlest, the youngest, decided to get the brownies. Well, the middle and me go with oatmeal cream pies. But because I control the purse strings, we didn't get the same size box we got the big box of the big oatmeal cream pies.
Sure.
And of course the others were like, "That's not fair." I said, "Are you paying for it? You know it's not fair? Don't say the F word. That's my new F word is fair.
Right.
Don't say the F word around me. Put those brownies back. I'll show you what not fair is." And then they shut up. Mm-hmm. And I said, "We need to make these last until, maybe I can put one in your lunch tomorrow or something like that." Oh no. They're gone. All of it's gone. and I'm partially
Yeah, but come on.
more
Come
than
on.
partially responsible.
I'm not gonna sit here and say, "Oh my God, how dare they?" I would have done the same thing.
Yeah, but it's the same thing. Like, hey, let's make these last for the week. No, like when you talk,
You're
like,
lucky if they last 3 days.
I'm lucky if they last 3 hours. So I take some out for my own secret stash and hide them
Got to.
so that the kids don't devour. Because I know tomorrow morning, like, they're going to eat one, and it'll all be gone, and then I'm going to show up with one, and they'll be, Daddy, where'd you get that? I'm like, don't you worry about it. That's the secret stash.
I got places you don't even know about.
Yeah. So
You're hiding them in like
but
the
it's
wall.
yeah, but it's like they gave us that we got the stimulus money.
Mm-hmm.
Did I save it? Did I pay off debt with it? No, I pissed it away on stupid shit.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, it's not all stupid. I did get my screen-in porch rescreened, and I put a new fence up because I need a new fence.
Right.
So I did do some work, and I used local businesses that were, so I put the money back into the economy. That's probably a pretty responsible. Now, one of the stimulus checks, I bought gun parts with it for a gun I didn't need, and I haven't fired since I assembled it. But hey, I did some toys and
I bought parts to build a server, and I had never even put a PC together before. Like, I literally bought the stuff and just would hope it would work.
Right.
It did, but there was a good chance it wouldn't.
Right.
And think about it. If I would have bought the hard drives, the CPU, the motherboard, the case for I spent almost $2,000 on this thing. Mm-hmm. Imagine if it didn't work.
Right.
And it would have gone nowhere local.
I still don't know if my rifle works. It
Right.
might not.
But that's what people like. Look, I'm fairly responsible with money, and I was irresponsible with that money.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, a buddy of mine went to Miami.
yeah,
He was going down there anyway to, on vacation, and he gets down there and he's like, man, and their dudes just rock it out with, they're in all the clubs and the champagne, and getting bottle service and stuff, like just throwing money around. And then
Right.
the second the weekend's over, they're broke again. Hey, they had fun, you
Right.
know? So a lot of that money went into strippers' G-strings,
sure.
supporting,
Supporting the local college fund.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. So here's the thing with okay, so let's say 10,000 gets forgiven, right? First it's just going to piss off half the people with student loans, right?
Yeah.
Because some people aren't going to be eligible.
right, because they have a cap that they've set at 150,000.
So is 100? So if your income's over 150,000, or is
So-
it if you have 150,000 student loans?
The way I understood it, and I read it in Vox, so yeah. I guess Vox is gonna paint the administration as favorable as they can.
Sure.
Was $150,000 is the cap. That's the earnings during the pandemic. That's how they have it kind of set up.
Okay. So it's
So-
it's based on your income.
Yeah.
Okay. So even if let's say they knocked off 10 grand for us, I think we still owe like 50 something.
Yeah.
So now we're gonna owe 40. I'm not gonna recast the loan over another 30 years to lower my payments. So my payment's gonna remain the same. I just might
Right.
pay it off a little. I'll pay it off in 20 years rather than 30.
Yeah. And I think what would have been better is now I did see on Instagram when Joe put it up there. First, they did this really weird thing with him.
Shocking. They have
He's
to.
this is weird. So it's this like how normally when someone's speaking, it'll be like they're kind of you'll see the podium, then their upper body and like their head, right? Yeah. So almost like think of like pecs up, right? Mm-hmm. His face takes up the entire screen, and you can see the reflection of the teleprompter in his eyeballs, and he blinks like maybe 3 times during this entire thing because he's just holding on for dear life as he's reading this thing.
Right.
And I'm like, so then I like to read the comments because there's always the comments like greatest president ever, and I'm like, what planet do you live on? Thank God you're here, Joe. And I'm like, these have to be bots,
Right.
Like they can't be real people. But then some people went down the thing was like, great, what about the compounding interest? Don't give me 10 grand. Get rid of the compounding interest.
Right.
And that's just a toggle, But they know damn well if they knock it down 10 grand, it's not going to, the people who count to them it's not going to affect their bottom line that much.
Well, so you've got people like my wife and your wife who are out there earning a living.
Right.
They got their master's. They're using it. It's helping them earn money.
Yeah.
Then you got the people, and there's people with like hundreds of thousands of debt because they went to school for 4 years for their bachelor's, 2 years for a master's, and however many years for a PhD.
Right.
And they got their PhD in Wiccan behavior, and they don't have a job. And oddly enough, there's no school. Like the one school that had the Wiccan behaviors program has enough teachers already and didn't want to hire this person.
That's where they went to get their...
Yes. So now they're just kind of floating in the wind, don't have a job, but they're saddled with $150,000, $200,000 worth of debt because they had to go to an upper crust school for this.
Right. They couldn't have gone to Anne Arundel Community College. They had to go to NYU or Brandeis or
Brown or some Ivy League school.
Yeah.
Or it's some like small private school that for some reason costs like $35,000 a year.
Yeah, like St. John's in Annapolis.
Sure, yeah. To get your degree in women's studies.
Yeah, underwater basket weaving.
Yeah, and nothing against women's studies. I'm sure, the studies were great, but outside of academia, there's no job for that.
There's no value.
There's none. Outside of academia, but all these people, they think, oh, okay, well, I'm going to go be a college professor. Okay, well, there's only so many colleges out there that can hire people.
Right.
And if you've ever talked to a college professor, trying to get tenure or be a full professor at these places takes a long time.
Yeah, because you start out at as an adjunct somewhere.
You get one or two classes a week, and if people got to fill your class,
and if they don't fill it, you cancel it,
and you don't get paid.
Yeah,
yeah.
And so a lot of them have to work real jobs somewhere, or at a whole bunch of different. Or there's the other option. Oh, real job. Oh, no, I can't do that.
Well, they end up being bartenders working on the weekend.
Yeah, or working at Starbucks.
And you are the most underpaid women's studies professor as a bartender.
Yeah.
Or what is it? The most overeducated bartender?
Yeah.
Yeah. You didn't need 6 years of school to go be the bartender. And I'm not knocking bartending. I'm just saying you don't need college for that.
No.
A buddy of mine never went. I think he went to 2 years of school. Decided it wasn't for him and dropped out. Been a bartender ever since. Mm-hmm. He's in his 40s. Loves being a bartender.
Yeah.
Makes enough money to support himself. Has his own house and everything.
Yeah.
But he's not saddled with the debt because he thought an extra 2 years of school would help him out.
Right.
Now, there was nothing wrong with that decision, right? Or it's like if you got a degree in psychology and you ended up being a plumber.
Yeah.
Okay, you didn't need that degree to be a plumber. All you did was just rack up your debt, and all that money from being a plumber is going to pay off your debt from the job you don't have as a psychologist.
Yeah.
So I guess my question is, why should the people that got the useless degrees, and let's get rid of the ones that, let's say someone got a degree, let's say someone got a teaching degree or whatever, and they tried teaching, didn't like it, went on to something else. I'm not talking about them. At least they gave it a shot. They found out they didn't like it, right?
Yeah. I'm
talking about the people who went to school 4 years, financed all of it, and then just didn't use it, or they went into they studied something that just was never going to have a use for them outside of college.
Well, that's this whole follow your passion, and I'm sorry, my passion growing up was ice hockey, right? I've made exactly $0. Actually, I shouldn't say that because I used to ref hockey games. But being an ice hockey player, I've made exactly $0.
Right.
So if I followed my passion, major in hockey and drinking beer, which, well, I kind of did, but but I did get an actual degree out of it. But if your passion is gender studies,
right,
then how can you find employment in that field.
You got to hope there's another college out there that needs a professor in gender studies. Because that's the only place they're hiring for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, or you got to hope that someone's going to pay for your research in gender studies.
Yeah.
If there isn't, you're screwed.
And who's paying for research right now?
I'm sure there's
Pharma.
I'm sure,
like,
but
like that's what, like the big money. Like, you're going to see some, or something that has to do with something consumer based, focus groups, some sort of behavioral type stuff. I mean, they have all these industrial psychologists that figure out like you walk into a grocery store, they're all designed so that you go to the right for the most part, and then they put stuff they want to sell on the right. And then you walk around a certain way. It's all laid out. None of it's random.
right.
It's laid out and it's thought. And they put things at the end on your way out. Like, what do you need on your way out?
The king of that is IKEA. There's been studies on how IKEA is laid out, down to the food that they serve there. How every IKEA has a food service place. It's so you can stay longer.
Yeah.
So that you don't leave for lunch.
Yep.
Like they serve you the meatballs and it's to get you to stay.
Yeah. And then casinos. They put a lot of thought into that stuff too.
Yep. So you can't get out.
Yeah.
They make it confusing on purpose.
Yes. So you can research that, but I don't know where gender studies falls into that.
It doesn't fit anywhere.
Yeah.
And
there's a whole bunch, and we shouldn't just crap on that particular field, because there's a whole bunch.
No, there's a lot of them
that are like I'm going to major in ancient German literature. Why? Everyone in Germany speaks English, number one. And if you enjoy ancient German, then read it on your own. Do you need a major in it? And I think that's where kind of these student loans went wrong. Well, first of all, there's a whole bunch of different layers. It's government money that a bank lends. You might know this, how it's laid out better than me, but like there's a bunch of different middlemen, and they're guaranteed. It's the only debt that can't be discharged through bankruptcy. So, I mean, there are people right now who are getting their Social Security docked because of student loans.
So let me ask you something. Imagine the lender. You're taking a loan from a lender who makes the rules up as far as what can be discharged in bankruptcy. Mm-hmm. Because the student loans they're talking about, they're federal student loans. They came from the federal government.
Yeah.
And the federal government is the one that's telling you that those student loans can't be discharged in bankruptcy.
Yeah.
Mortgage can be discharged.
Yeah.
Your car,
Escalade.
Yeah. Everything else.
Yeah.
Except, and I don't think alimony and child support.
Right.
But those can get renegotiated down when your income gets lower. Mm-hmm. But those student loans, it's like the unforgivable loan.
Yeah.
Like literally, they can't forgive it in bankruptcy.
Yeah.
And I just find it odd. The people giving you the loan are also making up the rules on what you can discharge in bankruptcy. Oh, and by the way, you can't discharge our loans.
Yeah.
Okay, then.
But then, so you have this. Now, if they were just regular loans, right? Say you had to go to the bank and get a student loan. Okay, so just like now, you're attempting to purchase a product or service with money you don't have, with somebody else's money. So they're going to charge interest on that to cover for the risk, and then they're going to evaluate you as well.
Right.
And then they would question, okay, well, where are you going to school? What do you want to do? Oh, I want to be an elementary school teacher. Okay, that's employable. So we're going to give you X amount.
Right.
Where are you going to school? Oh, I want to go to Penn State. Well, you live in Maryland. Why don't you go to the University of Maryland? Well, I want to go to Penn State. No, we're not giving you that loan. We'll give you that loan to go to University of Maryland because it's less money. You could get the same exact education at University of Maryland that you can at Penn State. But I'm a Nittany Lion at heart.
Right.
Why? I like Penn State football.
Right.
Who doesn't? Happy Valley.
Yeah.
But
so
someone would deny that loan. Now, if you went to them and said, "I want to go to NYU and major in theater," they'd be like, "Nope." What banker who has to take on that risk is going to take on that risk?
Right.
Because you're not going to make any money in that field to be able to repay that loan back.
Or the percentage of people that try and get in that field are very low.
Right. You might as well say, I'm going to go to Alabama and major in football.
Right.
And if you're good enough, Alabama's going to pay for it. But if you're just going to go and major in football and drinking and sports gambling at Alabama, they're going to be like, no, we're not paying for you to. No one's going to take on that risk.
Might be a bad example. Look, so if you could get onto Alabama's team, someone might finance that because I think 80% of that roster goes to the NFL.
Yeah.
So
It's like the minor leagues of the NFL.
So let's use like Central Michigan.
Yeah.
Okay. And you want to go major in football. 1 out of 90 of those guys every year will get to the NFL.
Yeah.
Or maybe 2.
Yeah.
That's a loan that they're not going to say yes to.
Yeah.
The Alabama one, they probably say yes to 100 times out of 100.
So, are you on the team?
Nick Saban, he offered you to be on the team. Sure, okay, we'll make that loan. But you want to know why they don't have to make that loan? Because Nick Saban's paying for it.
Right.
They don't. No one's asking for that loan.
Right. And that's the thing. Like, if you actually had, but under the way it is now, it's all just Fed money coming out. They're guaranteed. You can't discharge it. It's going to haunt you for the rest of your life. Like, I mean, everything's dischargeable upon death. But you're going to go through and it's going to say, well, how did you... It doesn't matter. Like, oh, yeah, sure, major in theater, major in the flute, or whatever it is you're sort of nonsense you're going to major in. Yeah. And meanwhile, on the other side, on the parent side, there's no one saying, hey, look, dude, you can't act your way out of a wet paper bag. Why are you going to go to NYU and major in theater?
Right.
Like, because, we have to pump everyone's self-esteem up so they feel good about themselves, when really you need, like, everyone needs the cold, hard truth at some point. And, hey, dude, I think you're wasting your money. Like, everyone needs a little Red Foreman in their life.
So, and the other way to think about this is that from the federal government viewpoint, they say, oh, well, we're in the business of doing student loans because we're investing in our people. What's the best way to make money passively? It's residual income, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So it's like if you own a rental property and every month you get a rent check.
Yeah.
Right? Well, think about it this way. If I'm the federal government and I make a loan out to you and you have to pay me every month, its own people are now the residual income.
Yeah.
Not only are there income taxes and property taxes, but now they also got you paying that student loan.
Yeah.
Every month. With interest.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. It's another revenue stream. It's almost like a T-bill.
Yeah.
Like they put debt out there, a 10-year treasury bond, someone buys it and they pay the U.S. interest, and the U.S. pays interest on that, right?
Yeah.
This is the reverse. I'm going to loan you $100,000, and for the rest of your life, or at least for 30 years, you're going to pay it back to me every month with interest.
Yeah.
It's literally, it's a reverse income stream.
Yeah.
Or I guess it's just an income. I guess it's just a reverse income stream. It's an income stream for the federal government.
Yeah.
And they found a way to con everyone into it.
Mm-hmm.
Because the federal government was the ones in the 80s and the 90s pumping college. You need a college degree.
Yeah.
And all these companies went along with it in order to be qualified for this job at Lockheed Martin. Think about this. To be a recruiter at Lockheed Martin, you need a college degree.
Yeah.
You need a college degree to learn how to shake hands and
schmooze.
And schmooze. And learn, sit down with someone and drink and convince them that this is a great place to work. You need 4 years of college for that.
Yeah.
Well, I guess you do because you need to learn how to go and drink and make friends, right? I mean, that's what...
Yeah. Just go hang out. Everyone who went to college, has the dude that, failed out but didn't leave.
Right.
Is still hanging out. You just can be that guy.
Or the pharmaceutical rep that needs a 4-year degree in biology.
Yeah.
To go sell drugs.
Right.
I mean, the sales pitch is in the packet. I didn't need to know the chemistry of the drug to sell. Hey, this Advil's great stuff.
Yeah. And I'm going to tell the doctor about the chemistry.
Right. I'm going to tell the guy that went to medical school that this drug is great, and he's just going to believe me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because I know better
Yeah.
with my 4-year degree in biology versus his 4-year degree in biology, 4 years of medical school, and plus 2 years residency,
Yeah.
and opening people up. Yeah, I know better. Hey, Doc, listen to me. Right?
But and a lot of that's just, I mean, that's just salesmanship, and salesmanship does you don't you talk to anyone who went to college as a sales, do they learn how to be a salesman in some class?
Yeah.
No, they picked it up through trial and error, probably through someone that had been doing it at the company for a while when they were new, and just natural innate abilities that they had, and they were able to then, someone who's personable and funny anyway,
Right.
then gets into sales. They don't need a degree to get into sales.
Or especially with these pharmaceutical sales. Hey, Doc, come on this trip with me to Hawaii. You've been prescribing this Viagra over Cialis quite a bit.
Yeah.
Thanks, Doc. Well, let's go to Hawaii.
Yeah.
You don't think he's going to keep prescribing Viagra over Cialis
Yeah.
just to get boners up?
Yeah.
I mean, that doesn't take a college degree to send a doctor to Hawaii. That takes a company slush fund.
Yeah, that takes an expense account.
But that guy, though, that salesman or saleswoman, they kept seeing that, no, the requirement for this job with Pfizer says I need a 4-year degree.
Yeah.
No, you don't.
Yeah. Then you have other like public sector where some fire departments and police departments are requiring a 4-year degree to get hired. Do you need a 4-year degree to put out a fire? They teach you everything you need to know in the academy.
And I was going to say this, most jobs teach you everything you need to know once you get there.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, there are jobs that are not like that.
Yeah.
Like being a lawyer, being a doctor, and I'm sure there are others that I'm
Yeah, I think if you're going to be if you're going to shoot, rockets into space, you should probably have a degree in some sort of engineering or
Sure.
astrophysics or something. You should probably know a little bit about that before you start doing that. And again, but that would be under a sane system, something where the bank would be like, oh, you want to be a rocket scientist, and you're going to go to Rensselaer and major in rocket science. Like,
Right.
Okay, well, yeah, we're going to write that loan.
Or, I mean, like another example of it is, so let's say the government writes up a whole bunch of rules and regs for accounting. So now you need to go to college for rules and regs for accounting, or to be an accountant.
Mm-hmm.
So you're literally creating a market for people that need this 4-year degree because you wrote all these rules.
Right. That are impossible to understand.
Right.
Like, just like on our last episode,
Right.
with four, yeah.
They write them so you can't understand them.
Yeah.
And even the people that have the 4-year degree that get hired by KPMG or whoever to do an annual audit or accounting work, I mean, it's literally up to interpretation.
Yeah.
Because you can read one rule to be one way, and it won't be specific. And you be like, well, I think it means I'm interpreting it to say this.
Yeah.
And as long as you say that, it passes.
Yeah.
And I mean, look, I'm someone who graduated with a degree in finance.
Mm-hmm.
Now, my first 2 years, I was an accounting major. And once I realized what it was, I was like, I can't deal with it. Like, this is stupid to me. So then I changed to finance. And I thought I was going to go work as a stockbroker.
Yeah.
And that didn't happen because I wasn't going to New York City and pulling Wolf of Wall Street out.
We're gonna be a bro.
I couldn't do it.
Be a finance bro.
I couldn't do it. I was so of course I went and my first job was as a I guess they called it administrative aide back then.
Mm-hmm.
It was for a local government where I was, but it was to do accounting work for them. That was just the position they had open. Like with government, the position title is never what the job is.
Never.
It's just a job title they have so they can put someone in it.
Yeah. So they can post it.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is now, the job I have now has nothing to do with my finance degree.
Right.
Now, my degree helped me get my first job, so does my degree count for something? Sure. Why not?
Yeah, like
it helped me even get my second job, my third job. But my fourth job, no.
Yeah.
This job, I've been in this job almost 15 years. It has nothing to do with that degree.
Yeah, my degree didn't. I could have gotten my job with or without a degree, and but what the degree did do was enable, like, I became a very good writer, and that's helped me immensely throughout my career. So, writing is and communicating is, it's important in some lines of work, and that's what it helped. But did I need to spend years in college to learn how to do that? No.
I feel like I could have gotten all the education I needed from college in 2 years.
Yeah. Well, the other thing about college for your degree is they add, so you need to have your fine arts credits. You need to have your gym class. Now, I was an athlete in college. Why the hell am I taking gym?
Right.
Like, that should count. But no, you got to get those credits. What else do you need? You need your foreign languages. Foreign languages are good, but are they necessary for an accountant?
No.
Probably not. You need to have your world history credit. Is history good? I love history. I took a lot of history electives because I liked it.
Right.
But again, was it useful? Psych, as an accountant, is taking Psych 101 really good?
Or sociology.
Yeah.
You want to know why they make you take it? So when you go to a liberal arts college, it's so that you're a well-rounded student.
Yeah.
That's how they sell it to you.
Yeah.
Well, you need to be well-rounded so that you're good in your specialty. What?
Yeah.
Like, I was, like I said, I was an accounting and then a finance major. Psychology, I had to take Psych 101
Yeah.
and Sociology 101. They don't, I mean, don't get me wrong, were they good classes to take? Sociology was, sure, because it teaches you how to understand how human beings operate and how they think.
Yeah.
But was it necessary for my accounting or my finance degree?
Right.
No.
Is it worth $300 a credit?
No. And you want to know something? I ended up taking those two. I was allowed to take some courses at community college. So over the summer, I took both of those at a community college.
Yeah.
I didn't even take them at my school.
Well, and that's what, like, when I talk to young people, I feel so old when I say young people.
Right.
But say, if you can, man, stay at home as long as you can. As long as your parents will tolerate you, stay.
Save up that money.
Yeah. And then English 101 at Anne Arundel Community College is the same exact class as English 101 at Harvard.
Right.
It is the same class. Why are you going to spend, I don't even know what the cost per credit hour at Harvard is.
Right.
It's probably could ask the Google machine that.
It's atrocious.
But at Anne Arundel Community College, it's not I think it's $100 or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So rather than tacking on all that debt to get the class you can get, it's the same as, if you had, you have two gas stations, right? You have the one gas station that sells, and they both have your typical, 87, 89, 93 octane fuel. So, regular, mid-grade, premium. But one is the Chevron station or the Exxon station, and the other one's just Billy Bob's gas station.
Mm-hmm.
Chances are that fuel came off the same truck.
Right.
But I want Exxon gas. So I'm going to spend 9 times more per gallon. No one's going to make that choice. But when you just make it English 101, oh yeah, I want my degree to say Harvard on it.
Right.
But the thing is, when all those credits transfer, because I transferred, my degree doesn't say Frederick Community College on it. My degree says where I went to school.
Right.
And the car doesn't know what kind of gas it's burning. So if you go to Anne Arundel Community College and the credits transfer you don't need to spend that kind of money.
Right.
So like with my kids, like, yeah, I'm not letting you go into ridiculous amounts of debt for an experience. You want an experience? Go in the Marine Corps. You get an experience, they'll pay you for it.
I do disagree with you a little bit on that. Because as far as the experience goes, no, don't get me wrong. I really don't keep in contact too much with people I went to college with.
Yeah.
Maybe one or two. And it's not a professional level. It's solely personal. Like, some of these people, they go to these colleges for the professional connections.
Yeah.
Right? And they work sometimes. Like, don't worry. Like, an alumni from my college is the one that hired me for my first job. Mm-hmm. And I guarantee I'm hearing people right now, like, they're listening to this going, see, that's why you go to that school.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I get that to a certain extent. But is that connection worth 5 times the cost.
Yeah.
And that's where the value of it all comes in.
Yeah.
Now, for example, I think if you go to a Harvard, considering how many, higher, how many executives in the business world are from Harvard, or, how many people in higher education are from Harvard, Yale, Penn, whatever they are, they're generally at the top of their industry.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying all of them, but for the most part, like that, those connections at those type of schools definitely come into play. Now, is it worth, 3 or 4 times the tuition of like a University of Maryland?
Right.
I don't know. But I can certainly say that, like, going to Anne Arundel Community College and then like UMBC, if you're going to be a computer scientist, you're going to go code or something for a living, maybe that's the better route for you than say, Columbia.
Yeah.
Right. Or even a University of Maryland, which is more expensive than UMBC. Right. Like, I use my brother as an example. He ended up being a teacher. Now, he went to a university out in Indiana. Went there for 4 years. Meanwhile, he could have gone to a state school that was known to be a good school for teachers.
Yeah.
And it would have cost probably 1/3, because that was back when state schools were cheap.
Well, yeah. But see, the thing is now, none of them are cheap. And
I was shocked at what University of Maryland cost for an in-state person. I was shocked.
Yeah. But one of the reasons they're so expensive is because all this money that's getting pumped in.
Right.
And, it gets into the thing where and as I get old and crotchety and more of a curmudgeon, I just don't, anything the government does, like that's government's doing, it's going to be, not gonna work. They're gonna F it up like they do everything, and they haven't let me down yet. So, right. But if you were to take, you can see it right now with the cost, the money they're going to give people, the tax rebate for the electric vehicles, for the EVs. Ford and General Motors raised the cost of the vehicle $3,700.
Right.
So they're going to do it. So think if they said, okay, we're going to give every family $500 a week to pay for daycare.
Right.
Everyone's going to sign off. Oh, that's great. That's $2,000 a month I'm going to get for daycare. Mm-hmm. What are the daycare providers going to do? They're going to raise their cost because they know you're going to get $500 per week for it. So if you don't fall within that income level to qualify for it, now you have to pay more because the cost has now gone up.
Right.
So that's the government created it.
So I'm looking online because I want to go back to that $10,000.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure it depends on which source you're using. So I just went on Google and I typed in average student loan debt for 2022.
Mm-hmm.
All right. According to Experian, as of June 2022, the average student loan debt among consumers in the U.S. totaled $39,366. Another one here from APLU.org. I don't even know what that is. The average is $25,921. But the weird thing is they're saying the average for people who didn't borrow had average debt of $16,300. So it was only like a $10,000 difference depending on whether they had student loans or not. But anyway, I guess my point is this, and it depends on which one you look at. Because if you're looking at $39,366, and you get $10,000 off your loans, that's a quarter off your loans. If it's $25,921, you take $10,000 off. That's 40% of your loans.
Yeah.
Even if you got that, even if he takes off that $10,000, is it really? If people don't recast the loan, and what I mean by recast is basically they adjust your payment by the amount remaining. So let's say you got 20 years and you got $40,000 in debt left, and they take out 10, so now you got $29,000 or $30,000 left. Mm-hmm. they take that 30,000 and stretch it out over those 20 years now.
Yeah.
So your payment becomes lower. Some places won't even do that though. They'll make you refinance it completely. Which people, when they refinance if they refinance the loans when the interest rates were really low, you were getting it like 1.75, 2.2. Now it could be upwards of 4.
Yeah.
So your payment might not be any different anyway.
Yeah.
I guess my point is, let's say the federal government, they forgive all this. They forgive $10,000 per person. And we're like, yeah, this is great. Does it really do anything?
Yeah.
Is it really going to adjust people's payments if they don't recast the loan or refinance it? The answer is no. They will end up paying it off quicker
Yeah.
because you're making the same payment and you have less principal, so you'll end up paying it off quicker. But it's only $10,000.
Yeah.
Like on a $50,000 loan over 30 years, your payment's only like $250.
Yeah.
So what do you knock that down to? $1.25? So I guess what I'm saying is it really helping a whole lot of people? Because the people that owe hundreds of thousands of dollars, knocking off $10,000,
No.
it's not going to budge their payment.
No.
The kids in the street crying about their student loans, this isn't them.
Right.
Those are the kids that owe the $100,000. They're like, oh my god, I can't like I've got $1,000 student loan payment a month.
Yeah.
Okay, well, chopping off $10,000, your payment's now $970.
Mm-hmm.
You gained $30 back a month. You didn't do anything.
Yeah.
So, I guess my question is, does this $10,000 really do anything? I'm sure, and everyone's going to be sitting back going, well, it might not do a whole bunch, but I'll take it. I'll take the $10,000 back off my loans. Sure.
Right.
Of course. I mean, but it's not like you're putting $10,000 back in somebody's pocket.
Right.
This isn't a stimulus.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's going to affect inflation. I don't think I don't think you'll see a whole bunch of that money back in the economy.
No. No, and I don't think that schools are going to go and all of a sudden raise their tuition by $10,000 either.
No.
That damage has already been done.
They're still doing it, though.
Yeah.
They're still raising that tuition.
Yeah.
And it's because they're not stopping the student loan. Like,
Yeah.
that's enough. Like, that would make more sense. Okay, we're going to chop $10,000 off for the student loans. Oh, and by the way, federal student loans per year are now capped at $18,000.
Yeah.
Which means you want to go to school as 25, you're forking over that difference.
Yeah.
That'll stop those tuition increases real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Because like you said, if the federal government acted like a banker giving out a loan, and you say you want to go get a degree in history, and you can get that for $15,000 a year for 4 years, and you're gonna take a loan out for, was it $60,000?
Yeah.
Versus a school you're going to pay $30,000 a year for, which even today isn't really that expensive.
No.
I mean, it is. I mean, it's not expensive relative to what's out there. You're talking 120.
Yeah.
So 120 versus 60. If you're the bank, you're going to say, look, we'll give you the $60,000 for 4 years, and you can go get that degree in history.
Yeah.
And they're not going to fund the 120.
Right.
But this isn't a true loan process.
Yeah.
It's if you have a pulse,
Yeah.
we'll let you keep withdrawing from this bank. And then once you get any kind of job, or actually, I don't even think you need a job anymore. It's after a certain number of years of graduating,
Yeah.
you got to start paying on this.
Yep.
And it's never going away,
Yeah.
even if you decide to declare bankruptcy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's why everyone keeps, you hear people saying, college is a scam, college is a scam. It's not necessarily a scam in the way most people think. Do you pay for something and do you get something in return? Yes, you do.
Yeah.
But no one ever does the cost analysis of, I mean, it's like shopping for a car. If you go to 3 different dealerships, you get 3 different prices.
Mm-hmm.
You still get the same car.
Yeah.
So why don't it's almost like the government preys on these kids, and the parents buy into it.
Yeah.
It's like, as a parent, would you let your kid just go buy the first car because they thought it was red and shiny and new?
Right.
No, you're going to make them shop to go find that red car somewhere.
Yeah.
You're not going to just say, okay, this guy's got it for 10 grand. Okay, sounds good.
Yeah.
That's the one you wanted. No, you're going to say, let's check a couple other dealerships. And, someone else is probably selling that car for 6.
Yeah.
Save yourself the 4 grand.
Yeah. Here it is for 6. It's not red, it's black, though. Is that okay?
Or maybe it is red.
Yeah.
You just decided to go 3 miles down the road to another guy that had one. And because the money is so easily attainable, no one's shopping. They, like you said, I feel like I'm a Nittany Lion on the inside, so I'm going to go to Penn State.
Yeah.
Even though UMBC has the same program for half the price.
Right. Like it blows my mind. Like, you can get that same exact degree elsewhere. Any of those enormous state universities, they're all the same. Now some of them might have like different. When I was going to go to school, I wanted to be a pilot, so I was looking for aviation schools. Maryland does not have good aviation programs. So in order for me to do it, like, I was looking out of state, and some out of state schools have very good aviation programs. So that's when, okay, if you're looking for something that's not available in your state, then I get it.
Sure.
But if you want to if you're going to major in business, get a business degree anywhere.
They're handing out MBAs.
Yeah.
Never mind business degrees.
Yeah.
But it's also like, even with the car industry, though, let's say you want a 2000 Chevy Tahoe.
Mm-hmm.
The bank has a value of what they'll lend out for a 2000 Chevy Tahoe.
Yeah.
And they're not going to lend you anymore.
Right.
They're going to lend you $5 grand because that's what they value it as worth.
Yeah.
There's no one out there saying, well, that history degree is worth 15 grand a year. And that's all we're going to loan you is the 15 grand a year.
Now, the employers are deciding what that degree is worth.
Sure.
So if you get a degree in actuary science, the insurance industry has decided that that's like a pretty worthwhile thing to have a degree in, and they'll pay you for it. Your salary will reflect the degree.
Right.
So, but the lender, like, oh, you want to, it would, that same 18-year-old kid who wants to go borrow $100,000 to major in nonsense couldn't get the $8,000 loan for the Tahoe.
Right.
Because they're like, you can't repay this loan.
Right.
But go ahead, get this. Sure.
Well,
go ahead.
Based off of future earnings, right?
Yeah. But the bank who's lending that money to the kid to buy the Tahoe is assuming risk.
Right.
Now, sure, can they go repo the vehicle? Yeah, but the kid could also, let's get repoed it. Let's burn it up. Let's go crash. They repoed it, but it's not worth anything.
Right.
There's going to be depreciation in that.
Sure.
So does a human mind depreciate?
Probably. Yeah. I know mine's depreciated quite a bit. But let us know what you think about the student loan forgiveness for about 10 grand from the current president, which I believe he did it by executive order.
We didn't get into that.
I could be wrong on that, but
no, he did.
Oh, he did. Okay, yeah. So let us know what you think about forgiving 10 grand, or who the 10 grand should have gone to, or whether he should have done it by executive order, if Congress should have done this, or if nobody should have done it. Let us know in the comments. Please like, subscribe, comment, share. Thank you for listening. Please definitely share this with a friend, and we will see you next time.